How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks. We focus on one thing: always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Chargepoint and as well as for SOFI. They both posted up red days, but that wasn't surprising because we had quite the pullback in the market as a whole. And the key levels that I talked about from yesterday, of course, many of them have now become even bigger areas of interest since we have seen them for today. So I'm going to make sure I keep you guys updated and show you what these stocks look like going into Friday. So if you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. We're going to be taking a look at the charts. We're going to be taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts where I'll go over some more details. So let's get into those videos. So we're going to take a look at the chart for SOFI. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $4.84, being down 7.81%. On the low, it tested $4.79, which is a 52-week low, and then you could see on the high it tested $5.16. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 56.487 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 40.159 million shares. So you can see that we did have above average volume on the day, and we saw a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, of course, SOFI does continue to look bearish. It is trading below all of our major moving averages, which is a 50 EMA to 21 EMA, and as well as for the 9 EMA. And we talked about yesterday how $5 was a key area of support. And since it broke through $5, you can see that we made a new 52-week low. Previously, it was at $4.82, and we got to a low of $4.79. So seeing that we closed at $4.84, so just 2 cents above the previous 52-week low, going into tomorrow, you want to see another retest from SOFI going back to 5, and you need to see strength above this level. And if it can do that and have a close, most preferably around $5.15. It saw a high at $5.16. If it is able to do that, then going into next week, you'd want to see SOFI making that move to the 9 EMA at $5.34. If we end up getting rejected upon reaching this 9 EMA, that is definitely not a good sign, and we can get knocked right back down below $5. So I just want to make sure you're fully aware. But for all of my investors out there, again, I told you guys about the volatility, and considering where SOFI is trading at right now, I think it looks fairly attractive. Again, do your homework, do your due diligence, but let's see how SOFI performs going into Friday. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. So scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we're going to take a look at the recent filings for the 29th, since we've already gone over the 28th. So we have JP Morgan that purchased 379,998 shares, and then we also have Direxi and Daily Financial Bull 3X shares that purchased 247,381 shares. So now when we take a look at the short interest, the off exchange short volume ratio is at 34.24%, and then for the off exchange short volume, it is just over 5.70 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 16 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.86%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 27th, it was at 38.08, and then for the close of the 28th being at 34.24. So it's gone down a little bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 12.59%, SOFI does continue to have short squeeze potential. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Chargepoint. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $14.93, being down 5.69%. On the low, it tested $14.38, and then on the high, testing $15.86. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 8.233 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is 9.61 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and of course we had a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at a chart, which is a daily chart, what I want to bring to your attention, remember what I talked about, that Chargepoint has found support right at this 1438 level, especially if it decides to have a pullback, since we did see this in the past. Look what happened for today. We ended up testing it 1438. Of course, Chargepoint was able to bounce off of this level, and we ended up seeing a high at 1586. So this was just above the 9 EMA, which is at 1566 currently. And as I zoom into the chart just a little bit more, what I want you guys to see, we are now trading below all of our major moving averages, which is the 9 EMA, the 21 EMA, and as well as for the 50 EMA. So what do we want to see? If Chargepoint has another pullback and it breaks through the low of the day at 1438, we do know for a fact we could have some support that's coming in right here at $14. If that support does not show up, we know it has a gap that needs to be filled right here around $13.27 or in that $13.20 range. So if you haven't done so already, please add that to your homework. As far as for the upside is concerned, like I said previously, we seen a high at 1586. So what you want to see is a retest at that level and then being able to get above the 21 EMA, which is at $16.02. We know that $16 is a very key area, and the fact that Chargepoint have resistance at 1586 shouldn't be surprising, because if we take a look at the previous trading day, it was around the $15.90 range. So knowing that it only got to the $15.80 range, this is something we have to continue to watch, and if we continue to have rejections, that's definitely not a great sign. But for the most part, Chargepoint is still in the position to make a move if the market decides to trend up going into Friday. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Chargepoint. So green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for September the 29th, since we've already gone over the ones for the 28th, we could see that NSFBX, which stands for NAT-TIC6 Sustainable Future 2015 Fund Class N. And as far as the positions that they have been taking, they are all below 1,000, but it's good that they've done a number of positions. We also see Amplify ETF Trust that went in with 834 shares. Again, nothing big whatsoever compared to what we saw yesterday from TIAA that purchased 112,169 shares. Now, let's take a look at the short interest. The off-exchange short volume ratio is at 44.44%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 1.79 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 400,000, updated 14 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.82%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 27th, it is at 41.38, and then for the close of the 28th, being at 44.44. So it's gone up a bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 17.09%, Chargepoint does continue to have short squeeze potential. So for my final thoughts for Chargepoint and as well as for SOFI, let's start off with Chargepoint. So we had some recent news that came out that the chief marketing officer ended up resigning. Plus on top of that, the market conditions weren't the greatest, so we ended up having quite the pullback. But if you see where we found support, I talked about this level yesterday. It was right around $14.38. So knowing that Chargepoint showed strength at this level, we also have to pay attention to the high of the day, which was at $15.86. So it is very clear that this stock is trying to get back to $16. If we take a look at the previous day, we had resistance at the $15.90 range. So seeing that we posted up a lower high and we also have a lower low, then I want to make sure that you guys have a game plan. You know what it looks like going into Friday. So the key thing is we need to see that move going to 16 bucks. If we end up getting another rejection or we post up a lower high, that is definitely not good. And then in that case, you want to see if we can have a higher low above that 1438 level. If we don't end up having that, we have a gap that needs to be filled that is not too far off. But make sure you check out the chart portion of the video to get some more details on that. Now, as far as for SOFI is concerned, we talked about how $5 was a very key level. So SOFI ended up giving it up, and we saw a low, which is a 52-week low at $4.79. We blew out that low at $4.82. So with that said, what do you want to see from SOFI? You want to see SOFI making a move back to $5. But we also have a possibility where $5 can become a psychological area, an area of resistance. And if that ends up being the case and we end up getting a rejection, then we will go lower than that $4.79. So I want to make sure that you're fully aware of that as well. And knowing that we had that high right around that area, we've talked about it, but not much, which is around $5.15. Then you want to see SOFI making that move to the upside to at least around $5.26, and then getting up to the 530s and as well as for the $5.40 range. This would be the bullish case scenario going into tomorrow. If we see a lot of strengths in the market, then this is is definitely possible. But remember, like I said in my previous videos, I want to make sure you guys are keeping up. That's why I always mention this. Take notes when I say this. As far as for the market conditions are concerned, we can look forward to some more volatility, especially in the beginning of October. But as we get into the middle of October and going towards the end, I'm expecting these plays to pick up momentum. And the main reason behind it is earning season, finding out what those earning results are from those big tech companies. So being positioned and knowing, hey, that I got my play all together and I'm ready to make some money here, I want to make sure you guys are prepared for that. So all of this volatility really doesn't concern me, and if you are an investor, of course you should be looking at the dip and doing your homework and doing your due diligence so you have more confidence if the stock decides to dip even further. And this goes for both of these plays. And also just to tell you guys that both of them also do have short squeeze potential. We already know we're in a bear market, shorts are going crazy, taking advantage of all of the fear, but in my personal opinion, we buy the fear. That's what it's all about. We buy the fear, we buy the lows, and then we sell at the highs and when there's a lot of momentum inside of the market so we can make some money and do the process all over again. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's see what these stocks do going into Friday. We'll talk soon.